Hi there everyone. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Dr. Inch, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through the practical that we're going to do today. I know some of the children in my class were a little bit surprised we're going to do a practical at home, and I could have demonstrated this in the lab, but what I wanted to do was to demonstrate it in my kitchen, just to show you that this can be done in the kitchen. So what we're going to do, I know most of you have looked at pH indicator. Either you've just started or some of you have actually done some experiments on it as well. So what we're going to do, we are going to make our own pH indicator, and then we're going to test some of the everyday objects or everyday things we find around the house. The other reason why I'm doing it at home, you might have heard my dog making a little noise in the background. There are other distractions at home. Remember, if we were doing this in the lab, long hair must be tied up. I'm not going to sit down don't sit down when I'm cooking, so I'm not going to sit down when I'm doing this either. Right, so a little introduction. Hopefully you've all been following teacher's instruction or teacher's advice to get some ingredients. The only thing I had to go and buy was my red cabbage. Everything else I had in the house. So if you haven't got red cabbage, there's lots of other things you can use. We've got, I know it says white onion, but I'm going to try some red onion. I've got some grapes, I've got some curry powder. There are other bits and pieces as well. The other things you will need, you'll need a bowl to collect your pH indicator. I've got various bowls because I'm going to do it in some different ways to show you how you can collect your indicator, how you can make that. I've got a jug that I'm going to collect, I'm going to filter my pH indicator into. I've got my filter paper, kitchen roll. I have my kitchen roll that I'm going to filter it with. I then have some of the samples I'm going to take. Obviously check and make sure that you're allowed to use these samples, but I've got everything from vinegar all the way through to kitchen cleaner. Various number of glasses. Unfortunately I didn't have enough of all the same type. I'm sure you'll be in exactly the same position. And we need some hot water. Depending on how you are going to prepare your vegetable and your pH indicator, number of ways. If you're going to cut it, you do have to be very careful, and you're going to have to chop it into fine bits. What might be easier is using a cheese grater. So I've got my cheese grater. Let's get a little bit of my red cabbage cut off. So I've got my cheese grater. I'm then just going to grate it into a bowl. Oh, look at that mess I'm making already. Okay, so make sure you tidy up at the end of it. You'll need a little bit more than that. If you think that it needs to be chopped up a little bit more, all you need to do, get yourself a spoon, use the back of a teaspoon, back of a soup spoon, and crush it down a little bit more like that. Get all the juice out as well. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to use a processor. So let's get this chopped up a little bit. Get that into there. Get that into there. Whichever way you do it, once you've got it started to mash up, you'll need to add just a little bit of very hot water just to get the fluids out. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the food processor. Oh. Just a zapper. Okay, might take a little bit of time. And maybe we should have just done it a little bit finer. Oh, but that's looking nice. Okay. Let's just add a little bit. You can see that? It's a little bit mushy still, so we have to add a little bit more water and get, there we go. Ooh, that's looking good. So get that all stirred around. Look at that. Oh, Oh, that's looking brilliant. Okay, so let's mash this up a little bit more. The more juice you can get out of this vegetable, the better. Right, let's have a little look at that. Look at that. Doesn't that look lovely? Right, so now we want to get rid of all these chunky bits. There's no point having these chunky bits in there because we can't really use that as an indicator, can we? Yeah? It's a bit chunky, a bit lumpy. So what we need to do, we need to get this filter. So a couple of bits of paper into our measuring cylinder like that, and then gently add our liquid. And look at that, that's it starting to filter through nicely. Maybe I should have used a better jug that you could see it better. Okay, that might take a while to filter. So let's get that on the go. Let's add a little bit more. How does that look? Oh, look at that. Okay, that's it coming through nicely. Look at that lovely colour. Okay, so let that filter through. So what you should be left with is a lovely purple solution. Okay, while that's filtering, what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to try and do it with other materials. So there's some more on the floor for the dog to eat. She's going to love this. But look at that, lovely. Oh, smells great as well. Right, the other thing, let's just don't follow me around now, that's fine. Let's get that one washed out. The other thing we can use, curry powder. Again, we'll need a bit of boiling water. Let's just get, a teaspoon. So about half a teaspoon of curry powder into the bottom of our cup. Oh, don't want it too hot. So remember to be very, very careful when you're using hot water. Okay, that's probably a little bit on the strong side. Okay, let that dissolve. Okay, and that is how easy it is to make your curry powder indicator. You want a little bit clearer than that, so a little bit more water. But we'll try that in a minute once it cools down. Ooh, don't want that dropping in there. Look at that. Okay, so let's just help it along a little bit. Look at that. Lovely. Okay, so now we have our purple pH indicator. So what we need to do, we need to add a little bit to each of our glasses. Okay. The chemicals I've got to test today, we've got vinegar, which hopefully you remember is an acid. We've got lime juice, same, an acid. I would have used some Coke, but far better I'm using some iron brew. I've got some soap, I've got some bicarbonate of soda, I've got some milk, I've got some kitchen cleaner. So let's start with the vinegar. Fingers crossed this works. So let's see. Okay, so we've got our purple indicator. And look at that. What can see the color it's changed into? Lovely red color. So that's vinegar. Next up is our lime juice. Okay, so our lime juice again is acidic. And look at that. How cool is that? Okay. The reason why I haven't used Coke and I'm using something like Iron Brew or lemonade instead is obviously because the Coke is a much darker colour. But let's see about the Iron Brew. Let's get a little bit in there. Oh, gone fizzy. Cabbage and Iron Brew, lovely. Okay, have a look at that. You can see the difference in colours. Yeah, so getting slightly paler. Oh. Obviously try and give yourself a little bit of space to work with, because I managed to knock my indicator over. Right, next up, I'm actually going to try some water. Okay, not really changed colour, has it? So that's good. Let's try some soap. Do that. And we'll need to stir that around a little bit and get that all mixed in there. Oh, look at that. You can see it's actually going a slightly different shade of purple. Okay, so there's our water, there's our soap. Right, next up, not sure if the milk will work, let's just put that one out of the way. So milk. Oh, look at that. Okay, it's a bit creamy. Like I said, with the Coke is a bit the same. So, bicarbonate of soda. What we'll have to do is we'll have to dilute this down with a little bit of water in a second. But let's get the bicarbonate of soda. Don't need very much. Oh, not sure you can see that yet, but let me add a little bit of water. Look at that. Lovely blue colour. Okay, last one. Let's try our kitchen cleaner. Ooh, that went two different colours. Don't know if you noticed that. Okay, well that's gone completely different colour, but that went blue to start off with. Okay, on the presentation that's attached as well, there is a pH scale, but look at that. I'm going to take these out of the way. Look at the range of colour. In fact, that's gone orange. If you can see that, it's got a lovely orange colour. Right. That is the experiment in a nutshell, done in my kitchen. Yeah, we could have done this in the lab, but how cool is that? How much more fun is this doing this at home? Any questions? Drop your teacher a quick DM through Teams or an email. We're more than happy to help. What I would like to see, and I'll explain to my class as well, I want to see pictures on Teams of this as well. So enjoy, have fun, and we will see you soon. Thank you.